What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Rent Check. It's the holidays, Ashlee Woods. Ashlee, how was your holiday?
It was good. It was fun. I just got a great wake up call with that introduction there. But my holiday was fine. My Christmas was fine. I was able to sleep basically all day. All I did was sleep, open presents, eat, and repeat. It's a magical time. A
All right,
magical
give
time.
me, before we get into this, give me what was your best present that you got this year? What was your standout?
I got a pair of binoculars, so I'm not blind in the press box anymore. I'm
Let's
so
go. She's
happy.
not blind.
I'm
Yes.
so happy. I can sit there and be like Bill Belichick and just sit there and eat my popcorn and like look at players not shoot the A
So you can stalk better. Right. Get it. Understood. We
gap.
get it.
Journalists do not stalk. We get the scoop of the story. I don't condone stalking. I don't do that.
It sounds like you do.
I do
So
not.
let's talk about what the people want to really hear. Let's talk about Devontae Smith. Ashlee Woods had he was due for this game. I'm going to tell you that right now. Look, a touchdown. He made some incredible catches. It was more of Devontae showing his elite top 5 level talent that he can be in the NFL. It was Devontae being Devontae, and we knew that he had this type of game in him, and he's done it a couple of times this year. He just kind of had an up and down season. But Devontae being Devontae is partially the reason why they won this game, because Devontae had, and he was due for this game. Excuse me. Dallas Goedert finally, the last few games against the Jets and last week against Washington, him having big games kind of opened up yesterday for Devontae to have the game that he had. And so you put all that together, to put it right along with Devontae's up and down season, he was due for this game. He was very due for it, Ashlee Woods. And it was more Devontae just being Devontae. Look, Jalen threw some solid balls, but it was more Devontae's talent for me. And Devontae was due for this big day.
Yeah, he had five catches, 80 yards, one touchdown, and this is the type of game that we've kind of been waiting for from Devontae. May not have the like highest amount of yards, but he was so productive with the limited catches and the limited yards that he did have. And one of those catches was a absolute gorgeous toe drag of a touchdown that really gave the Eagles the momentum to kind of blow up the score going into the second half. It was really a momentum shift for the Eagles, and just to have him kind of step up when the Eagles needed someone to step up because they were once again having some struggles in the first half of the game. That was crucial for them, because I don't think if we don't have that touchdown, the game may play out a little bit differently than it did for us. And I'm glad that he stepped up. I'm glad that he had this day. This is the type of time. This is the right time to have such a big game like this. You're playing for a playoff position. The division's out. The Cowboys wrapped up the division. Literally wrapped up the division. They didn't even step on the field, and they had already wrapped it up.
They didn't have to. They didn't have to do what they did to Washington last night. But
that was just brutal. We all witnessed a murder last night, and just with the
42 at halftime. That was anyway.
It was bad, but we are still in a position to be the 7th seed in the playoffs, and we can actually jump over San Francisco. And for you to have your star players, the players that you went up to pick number 10 to go get to step up at a time where you're trying to make a playoff push, that's so vital, and it should give Eagles fans a lot of confidence that their young stars are stepping up when they need to step up.
Well, speaking of making this transition to the next 2 weeks here, we're making a playoff push and talking about confidence. Jalen Hurts, for me at least, Ashlee, did not instill the confidence that I would have liked to have had going into these next 2 weeks here. He was terrible in the first half. I understand that we should have ran the ball a lot more, and that's partially on Sirianni and Steichen, the offensive coordinator. That's partially on them. But I was very discouraged by the way Jalen played in the first half. Extremely discouraged. Very careless with the ball. In the first drive, it should have been an interception, but it wasn't. Ball hit the ground. Extremely careless. Plays this year that he usually doesn't make for the most part. Usually he's been pretty smart with the football, not careless. That's one thing I've seen this year where I'm like, oh, that's one of Jalen's strengths is his mobility and not being careless with the football. I think that's what Jalen does really well. And he was not doing that at all against New York in the first half. In the second half, the McLeod interception, they were at like the 25, 20-yard line. They were right there. I mean, they're begging to just put the ball in the end zone there. And they finally got it going by, midway through the third quarter and into the fourth. But look, Ashley, I was not encouraged by the way Jalen played for me. Like fourth quarter, whatever. It's the Giants. Like eventually you got it going against one of the worst teams in the NFL. I'm just not, I'm very discouraged by the way he played yesterday. I understand the resiliency to come back finally, but it's the Giants. Look, they've had one of the easier schedules in the NFL the past month and a half to 2 months. Like, I'm still discouraged. Ashley, should I be thinking differently? You tell me.
Good things. It's a very good thing that NFL football games are won in 2 halves and not one.
You're right. You're right. You're
right. We could sit here. I will be the first one to tell you he looked a mess. He looked terrible. He looked a negative adjective you can think of. He looked that bad in the first half. I'm not going to sit here and like try to sugarcoat it for anybody. That's not how I roll. It was bad, but I think the fact that you've seen him, albeit against pretty bad teams, come like push those mistakes aside and really step up into that role, that's really great for me, at least. As far as the carelessness with the ball, that's been a problem since Alabama, where he will have stretches where he doesn't do any mistakes with the ball. And then when it comes time for, when a game comes up, it would be like a random opponent, like Ole Miss or Southern Miss. He'll just have like these random moments. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to protect the ball. Oh. Like, it's weird. But, I think
are you in the wrong holiday? Was that like some Halloween? Like, it's Christmas, man. What are we doing?
Like a Ghost of Christmas Past. Come on, dude. Come on. Like
Hurts the Ghost of Christmas Past. It is Bama days. He was careless, and now it's coming back to haunt us. Woo!
I mean, Nightmare Before Christmas. They're scary movies. I mean, Die Hard is a scary movie.
Nightmare Before Christmas. I always thought it was dumb. Personally,
wow. Okay, that's a take.
Finish what you got to say about her.
I am going to finish what I have to say here. I think it's worrisome because you want somebody to be very careful with the ball, especially going into postseason play, because one turnover can literally change the game, and that's literally you going on to the next round or you packing your stuff up in your locker room next week. So I honestly, you can feel not as confident. I mean, especially after this performance. I'm not going to try to change your perspective on that. I'm just going to tell you right now that I don't think these struggles in the first half of me are enough to be like, oh my God, I'm so worried about this team and what this team can do in the playoffs. Quite frankly, I'm always worried about what Eagles team is going to show up in the playoffs, regardless of how good the quarterback, the team is playing. I'm worried always. But I agree. I mean, it wasn't a great day from him. It wasn't a great first half. It was an okay second half because they kind of blew it up. Go ahead.
So just to wrap up. So what's your level of concern going into Washington next week? What's the level of concern right now for you, for Jalen and the rest of the team? What's your what 1 to 10? How concerned are you?
Should I be concerned about a team that got blown out 56-14 on Sunday Night Football? Should I be concerned?
I mean, look, Heineke was coming off a COVID list, and Dallas their offense can do that. Like that can happen. So
I mean, their offense.
Washington can come back next week, and Heineke can look decent. So
Heineke has not looked decent at all this season. I'm not that concerned going into this.
He's been okay at times. He's not one of the worst quarterbacks in the league or anything.
I never said that he was the worst. Don't do that. Right. Don't do that. Don't do that. I never said he was the worst. I just said he hasn't looked that great. That's all I said.
No one said he was going to be looking great. No. Everyone said he's okay. You can be okay.
Are you just sitting here trying to put words into my mouth? Anyway, I am not.
1 to 10.
A 2. I'm not.
That's
two.
Two?
I'm not that concerned. I'm really not, if you want me to be brutally honest.
Okay. Look, Washington still has a shot, technically, right? Right or no? They don't have a shot.
No. They're cooked.
Yeah, season's over. Right. Well, regardless, I said going into the first Washington game, or like even 2-3 weeks ago, I said they can split with Washington, and it can happen. And who says that it still can't happen? But things happen. They lost to the Giants 3 weeks ago, 13-7. No one saw that coming. It was three. What was the score? 3-3 going to halftime yesterday. I'm concerned. I'm gonna say that my level of concern right now would probably be like 1 to 10. It's probably like a 6 right now. Probably a 6. They had the ability to beat them, and I mean, Dallas is a whole different story. We'll talk about it when we get there. But it's a 6 for me right now. 2, that's too low. What are you talking about? You got you're more concerned than that. I know you are. I know you are. Don't lie to me like that.
I'm really not concerned about a team that doesn't have a name that we just beat 2 weeks ago. I don't care. I really don't. I really am not worried about who is that quarterback. It could be the ghost of Robert Griffin III. It could be Taylor Heineke. It could be Dwayne Haskins. I don't care. I am not concerned about the Redskins, especially when they showed you the type of the football team, especially when they showed you the type of team that they were against the Dallas Cowboys. I don't care if the Dallas Cowboys are the second-rate team in the league, second-rate team in the NFC. That's what you're supposed to do against bad teams. You're supposed to blow them out and make them look bad.
They're bad, but they're not that bad. They're not the Lions.
I never said they were that bad. I'm saying that
you did. You said they're bad.
They're a bad team. I'm not saying that they're a Lions. I say that they were worse than the Lions, Francisco Rojas. No. Right. So I say that they're a bad team. And I don't have any concern because I don't have very little concern because, quite frankly, we could have a terrible game and the Redskins will still figure out a way to lose. I don't care. Listen, just
don't be devastated when we lose, though. Just don't be devastated.
I haven't been devastated all season when we lose, okay? I'll probably still be riding the high of the Alabama game. I don't care. You can't shake me. Right? You can't faze me. I'm a student journalist. I can't be a fan.
Oh, now she's flexing. All right. Yo, and people out there, you let me know what your level of concern is going into the Washington game the rest of the season. I'm curious to know other people's thoughts too. So let us know. This has been another episode of the Rent Check. Until next time, Happy New Year. Thanks for watching, guys.
Go Birds.